Hi there, this is Kingsley. So Elon Musk made an offer to buy Twitter after he became the largest shareholder in the company. Now, this might be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on which side of the fence you are sitting on. The Twitter board and its employees certainly see this as a bad idea. They can't have Elon Musk take over Twitter. So the Twitter board adopted what is called the poison pill to stop Elon Musk from seizing control of the company after he made an offer to buy the entire company for $43 billion. The poison pill is a common nickname for a shareholder rights plan, which allows shareholders to buy additional shares of a company's stock at a discount, diluting the value of each individual share plan. So a company concerned about an unwanted or a hostile takeover will put the plan in place after a triggering event. Now, according to Elon Musk, he is investing in Twitter because he believes Twitter has the potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe. According to him, Twitter is the de facto town square. Elon Musk believes free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy. Elon Musk also said he's not buying Twitter for the economics, which means he's not buying Twitter because of the profits he can make from it. So why then is the world's richest man going through all the troubles to acquire a company whose board of directors don't want him, and certainly not the staffs of the company? Let me explain to you how it all started. Starting January 2022, Elon Musk started buying Twitter stocks. He kept on buying until he eventually acquired up to 9.2% of Twitter stocks, eventually making him the biggest shareholder of the company with over $3 billion. When his stake in Twitter was made public, this announcement sent a shockwave through the company. Then the Twitter board responded by offering Musk a seat on the board, which he accepted initially. But to Elon Musk, that board seat was a trap for him, as he later discovered. Joining the Twitter board would have meant that Elon Musk could only own a maximum of 14.9% Twitter shares. And as a board member, he could lose the freedom to express himself by tweeting whatever he wants to his more than 83 million followers, like he did the day it was announced that he's now the company's highest shareholder. Musk immediately put up a poll asking people the changes they want to see on Twitter. And a lot of former President Trump supporters requested to see Trump back on the platform. He asked if users wanted to see an edit button, which over 70% of the over 2 million people that voted on the poll responded with a yes. He even went ahead to ask if Twitter's San Francisco office should be converted into a homeless shelter. Most of the tweets have now been deleted though. Elon Musk later declined the seat on the Twitter board. Then he did what many people never saw coming. He attempted a hostile takeover. He offered to pay $54.20 per share of the company in cash, a 54% premium to Twitter's stock price, before he started accumulating shares in January 2022. As at the time he made the offer, Twitter shares were selling for $44.95 per share. Summing it all together, he was offering to buy Twitter for $43 billion. That is about $5 billion more than the $37 billion that Twitter is currently worth. You see, Twitter has not been able to hit that 1 billion active user mark like Facebook, which has 11 times more daily active users compared to Twitter. Neither has the Twitter management been able to grow an advertising business on the platform like Google, which has done the same with YouTube. In 2021, for instance, YouTube's revenue was 5 times that of Twitter. Twitter reported a net loss of $221 million for 2021 due to the settlement of a lawsuit by shareholders who said the company misled investors about how much its user base was growing and how much users interacted with the platform, a concern that Elon Musk has equally echoed. Here's the thing about Twitter. Who controls Twitter is really important to the global conversation. As Elon Musk pointed out in his TED interview, Twitter is the global public square. Most people say if you don't like Twitter, why not just go to other platforms like Facebook or TikTok or even Instagram then? But the reality is this: Twitter is an incredibly powerful tool. Twitter has a monopoly on the global conversation. Twitter is a place where cultural wars are fought out, political rivalries, debates, and so on. Twitter even affects what trends on other social media platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and the rest. Once you see a topic trending on Facebook or Instagram, you realize it actually started on Twitter. So even if the platform is moderated, there has to be a balance or some sort of fairness mostly when it comes to political topics. That balance is what Elon Musk feels Twitter doesn't have. Here are some changes that Elon Musk can affect at Twitter now that he is in control. Elon Musk believes the Twitter algorithm should be open source. Everyone should see what's going on behind the scenes. During an April 14 interview with Chris Anderson, Musk said Twitter should open source the algorithm, publishing the code online so that users can see exactly why certain tweets are appearing on their feeds. He also said that any manual adjustments to the algorithm to emphasize or de-emphasize tweets should be public knowledge. Now, what is the impact of this very move? Because Twitter is such a powerful tool, given the large number of people who use Twitter, the company's ability to control which tweets people see does mean it has control over the global conversation. If it wants a certain topic to get attention, it could emphasize it or vice versa. This could have major consequences. If Twitter decided it wanted Russia to win its special military operation in Ukraine, for example, the company could potentially help by de-emphasizing tweets reporting on the war or calling for donations to Ukraine. We don't know yet if open sourcing the algorithm will be able to stop any manipulations, but time will tell. Elon Musk also thinks Twitter punishment for those that break the rules are just too harsh, and at times it's believed that these punishments are selective. Twitter have their own rules that you must follow if you want to remain on the platform, like no spreading of child pornography or misinformation. A user's punishment for breaking content rules can range from having their offending tweets deleted to being permanently banned from the platform, like former President Trump. Elon Musk also thinks Twitter should limit its content moderation to removing only whatever speech isn't allowed by law. If a tweet falls in a gray area, Elon Musk thinks that that tweet should remain on the platform so that everyone can see it and make their own decisions, instead of Twitter making the decision if it's good or bad for you. And some argue that the company has a social responsibility to try to limit speech that could lead to violence, even though some of them don't. It's not just Elon Musk that thinks Twitter should be less moderated. American politicians on the far right feel they have been victimized long enough by big tech. They criticize Twitter's decision to ban former US President Donald Trump from the platform, with over 80 million followers as of the time, for tweeting about the January 6 US Capitol riots. And they point to the fact that most pro-Taliban or Al-Qaeda accounts still remain active on Twitter. For instance, the day after the Afghan capital of Kabul fell, with barely a shot being fired, pro-Al-Qaeda social media accounts, including the ones on Twitter, published an unsigned statement congratulating their Taliban brothers in quotes on the stunning military victory. These accounts were untouched or taken down from these social media platforms, and most of them still exist till this day. Meanwhile, politicians from the far left fear that Elon Musk taking over Twitter will be a bad thing for us because he will open the platform to all sorts of disinformation and Twitter will no longer be safe. I guess we'll all have to wait and see. Elon Musk has been in favor of adding an edit button on Twitter for years so that you can edit your tweets if you make a mistake. On April 4, 2022, Elon Musk posted a poll asking Twitter users, "Do you want an edit button?" misspelling the words yes and no. More than 4 million votes were cast, with almost three-quarters supporting the idea. Twitter has been reluctant to add this feature for a long time, even though users have been desperately asking for it because, according to Jack Dorsey, who founded Twitter, we started as an SMS text messaging service. So as you all know, when you send a text, you can't really take it back. We wanted to preserve that vibe and that feel in the early days. I guess now that Elon Musk is in charge of Twitter, that vibe might not be preserved after all. Cryptocurrency scams have been a thorn on Twitter's side, and they're a problem that has personally impacted Elon Musk. Elon Musk had in January 2022 complained that Twitter was spending time on products such as profile pictures that showcase NFT assets verified on the blockchain rather than fighting crypto spam bots. So now that Elon Musk is in charge of Twitter, we might just see an end to Twitter spam bots. There is also an interesting side to this story. Since Elon Musk offered Twitter $43 billion in cash to take over the company, how is he going to raise $43 billion in cash? Even though he's currently the richest man in the world with an estimated net worth of $276 billion, getting $43 billion in cash is a big deal even for the world's richest man. But here's the thing, Most of Elon Musk's estimated $276 billion fortune is tied up in Tesla stocks. The Tesla company allows executive officers to use shares as collateral for loans, but it limits the borrowing to just 25% of the value of the pledged shares. Elon Musk owns 172.6 million Tesla shares worth $176.47 billion. Just over 51% of this stake is already pledged as collateral. That means Musk could use the remaining stake to borrow about $21.5 billion. He also could borrow on his stake in privately held SpaceX. Now, in a new filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Elon Musk said he's lined up for the $6.5 billion to fund his offer of $54.20 a share. Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and a few other banks funded the deal with $25.5 billion, while the remaining $21 billion was covered by Musk himself, mostly through his Tesla shares and SpaceX. After deliberating on Elon Musk's offer for about 2 weeks, Twitter eventually announced on April 25, 2022 that it has formally accepted Elon Musk's offer. So as it stands, Elon Musk is the new Twitter boss. Can he or will he be able to deliver on his promises? Time will tell.